Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to DreamHack Summer 2013. We are here to continue the DreamHack Open as we are reaching the second part of the second group stage.
Yes, lots and lots of good games, and of course we're going to kick it off with Elfi versus JAEDONG, which is an amazingly exciting match, both because Elfi is the disappointer of so many dreams for other people. They're like, wow, Elfi should lose this because this other guy's more famous. Nope, Elfi wins. But also because JAEDONG has kind of... he's grabbed the hearts of a lot of people, man. I stood on that stage in Stockholm and saw the people root for him, and it was close. It was like Naniwa Thorzane, several notches below is JAEDONG, but to be that exciting for people is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he managed to finish third and fourth place, beat Gumiho in the quarterfinals, but then unfortunately just lost just a little bit to Naniwa. But now he's back here, and why is he back is the big question, because he's qualified for DreamHack Winter.
I actually know the answer.
Why? Tell me why he's back.
He just likes it.
Oh.
I'm going to be honest with you, because one of the things that we talked about when we first signed JAEDONG was there was a concern that he would travel too much, because it's a well-known fact that if you spend too much time outside of Korea and touring the world, as MC did, yes, there's a really good chance you're going to win a lot of money, but what also could happen is that you're too far away from the best prac planet, you get fatigued, and it starts to affect your results. So that was actually a concern he had, but he loved his time in Stockholm, and when this tournament came around, I think there's actually an open door policy for JAEDONG. He's invited to play everywhere he ever wants. It's kind of up to him whether or not he wants to, and he said, I want to go back to Sweden.
Well, look what he's come back to in Sweden. As you can see on screen right now, welcome to DreamHack Summer.
Yeah.
It's actually not just a StarCraft 2 tournament, it's a festival within itself. 8,000 nerds have bought their PCs here. And there's also
10,000.
10,000, sorry, have brought their PCs here. And also another 10,000 on top of that have come just to be here.
Just to hang out.
Yeah.
That's 20,000 nerds if you guys didn't know. And for those of you that also want to know, from what I understand, it's close. It's fairly close to a 50-50 split between guys and girls. Is that correct?
I'd like to say that.
It's close.
Which is a lot of girls here.
The typical esports average is 98.75% guys, and then 1.25% female.
Is that an American, you say?
Are you kidding me? Where is it not like that?
Well, it's usually at 99.5.
Oh, right, yeah. No. We got that 0.75 at America, yeah. We bring out the ladies, man. We bring out the ladies.
And, you know, there's so much to do here. There's many different games, new games you can try out. There's competitions you can play in.
Concerts, there's lounges.
Because that's the main hall. That's like the main DreamHack hall. And then towards the front of that hall is a massive stage where they have DJs come in. Bass Hunter, one of the biggest names come to DreamHack, has performed in there.
There's the guy that did the Dota song, right?
Tonight as well. Yeah, the guy that did the Dota song. That's it.
Great song.
Yeah, he's very mainstream when it comes to his DJ music, but he's performed here in the past. So there's lots to do here, and I definitely recommend if you want to come to travel to DreamHack, you can come. And here's a complete another hall. There's 3 halls, if I'm not mistaken, of nerds playing games. And here's another one where you just see people. A girl. See, a girl.
See?
Boy.
Girl.
Boy.
Girl.
It's a boy. Boy.
Maybe
boy.
a girl.
Boy. This is not working. This is not going too well. Do you know what? It's because all the girls are in the crowd watching us.
They are. They are all over here. We bring those shorts. No. Okay, back to us. So the really cool thing about it, though, guys, is it is the biggest land on the planet, but also, like Apollo was saying, there's a concert going on. But like for me specifically, if I was a kid in Sweden, the draw would be I'd probably play LOL, Dota, StarCraft, World of Tanks. Oh, by the way, there's professional grade tournaments for all those games going on here, including CSGO, HON. What else is there? There's
Dota, League of Legends,
HON,
CSGO, World of Tanks,
StarCraft 2. Probably like 5 others.
Bless again.
It's just amazing. You come for a weekend and you're doing that all weekend long. So it's absolutely amazing. It's really cool. You guys definitely need to check it out.
And, you know, it's pretty cool that DreamHack were able to pull this off, right? That's pretty impressive considering that at a standalone DreamHack StarCraft tournament, it's like, wow, and then you put all this around it too. It's pretty cool, so definitely recommend coming to DreamHack in the future. But for now, it's time to get on with the Dong, because he's about to play.
Big Daddy Dong.
I love getting on with the Dong.
I do too.
You got on with the Dong?
I would say most boys
get on with the Dong.
Get on with the Dong.
Most females
and
love to
ladies
get on
too.
with Dong as
They do. Well, he's got some
Exactly.
fangirls. He's got some fangirls.
He has got some fangirls.
Have you seen his Twitter pictures where he's like, "Hey, it's like Christmas time," and he like tweets pictures that just get showered on him like the gifts. It's pretty amazing. Korea's got the fangirls.
He's a famous guy, but he is going up against I'd say Finland's best player.
I think it's well, it was nice because last year at WCS they actually had the Finnish championship, which I don't believe he won.
But
since then,
yeah,
I think he's the guy getting the results, right? I haven't actually heard from Nam in a while. Welmu is his other competition. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. And then Protosser, but he also kind of faded out a little bit.
All right, well, here we are into the first game of the second half of the second group stage. Now, will be the third group stage later on. Here, up to the top left, as the Red Zerg player, it is himself. It is E.G. JAEDONG.
Yes.
There's the Dong.
Really fun stream to watch because he is actually the fastest player I've ever seen play StarCraft.
He is. And when he wins games, he actually comes up to you, shakes your hand, and goes, ding dong.
You probably should start, at least, yeah.
Look at that keyboard, Jeff.
Razor.
Aren't you proud of that keyboard?
It's pretty. Remember, we're excellent premier commentators.
We are the top-tier premier commentators of DreamHack right now.
Tell us about his opponent, please.
And down here, as the blue Protoss, it is, of course, Elfi.
And what team is Elfi on these days? I know he had a personal sponsorship from ROG, Asus ROG.
Elfi's on a U team. It's a Finnish-only team by the name, I think it's ENS.
Oh, okay.
Team
Very
ENS. I'm not too sure who's on it. I can actually look it up for you, though.
Finland actually has a great scene. It's like
Yeah.
Namo, Welmu, Protosser, Elfi. They had that Terran player. What is his name? Blanking on that. But they actually have like 6 or 7.
Zeryl's the other guy that's on his team, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
like
ENS.
GM level, really good European players. It's really cool. From Finland, I don't know you to suspect Finland to be one of the top countries, but they are.
Look at this. Look at that timing of the forge here. I mean, it's about to hit supply, and he already has his forge done. We have a pylon coming in.
What is this pylon?
It's a pylon on the high ground.
This is, I mean, there is a completed forge. And Elfi is weird enough. This could finish and then begin to be... No, he cancels it. Okay. And he's happy with that. 25 minerals for a canceled pylon. And then if you look at all the drones and the missed mining time, it equates to pretty good there. Oh, he just said it to us at least. That's good.
That's great. I got a funny story I'll tell you about that later on. Stuff like this.
All right, so Elfi does cancel both the pylons, which means he's just going to settle for delaying the hatch. JAEDONG smartly puts down the hatch at the third base spot. A slight inconvenience just in that his queen will have some travel time there. This probe does get found, though, which does mean that the cannon rush threat should be shut down. A lot of times if that probe hides and the Zerg's not diligent about looking for said probe, it can sneak back around behind a mineral line and drop those cannons for a very advantageous beginning for the Protoss player.
Alright, so JAEDONG does manage to get his third hatchery down in his natural location. Behind this, Elfi. I mean, if you look at Elfi and his attributes as a player,
Yeah.
nice wall off there by Elfi. Does get that in last minute. I would not be surprised to see some very aggressive two-base plays from him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely of the aggressive ilk. That's just kind of what he's known for. And if you look at the map Belshire Vestige as well, this third base, while not ranking like in the last of all the maps in terms of how easy it is to take that third base, it is of the more difficult of the maps. It's not an Akalon Waste where that third is kind of gifted to you, which does, again, kind of promote and suggest two-base play. Also, if you're looking at JAEDONG, can you still hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, just making sure. JAEDONG is... His mechanics, his macro will outpace you as the game goes on. Elfi kind of famous for being slower.
Yeah.
That matters a lot less earlier in the game. If you can do it with fewer units, you're going to be better off than against the guy that's got like 8 octopus arms and doing it really well late game.
So if Elfi wants to win this series against JAEDONG, it's probably better to win it in the 10 to 13, 14 minute mark.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think so.
All right, well, it's coming up to the 6-minute mark, so just bear that in mind, everyone at home, as Elfi is chrono boosting out a Zealot and a Stalker with the Mothership core,
Yeah.
so he's going to get himself across the map quite early here. Starting to put a bit of pressure on. Is that double Zealot, or is it double Stalker?
Okay.
Double Zealot, okay.
Yeah, just now starting Warp Gate upgrade. I mean, not a big deal, but look, the Soccer's about to pop out, and the Mothership core is coming out, so a little bit of a mistake. But I'm curious about the tech, because chrono boosting the Gateway and the Mothership core, that's okay. You can do that. You should be facing slow Ling, so it's advantageous to get them out there, get them to work early. But a lot of times, the second that Cybernex core finishes, your tech starts to take shape. And right now, Elfi is leading us on with nothing. We don't see anything coming out from him.
Well, he's lost his 2 Zealots there to just a bunch of Zerglings, and he may lose his Stalker if he's not careful. We do see +1 attack being started behind for Elfi, and also a Twilight Council coming down quite early here. And if you look at the, and when I say early, it doesn't really connect well with +2 finishing, for example.
Right.
So, I mean, what's he really looking for with this?
I have to imagine Blink. Because the Spore Crawler is so much more easily made, you no longer even need an Evolution Chamber. It just, you can make it, basically. DTs, while they obviously still definitely have utility, and they're more inexpensively made, which makes them, again, more attractive, I feel like the Blink is what Elfi's going to nominate for. And like you said, the +2 attack is not necessarily really well synced here. There is that Blink upgrade. But before he ever attacks, he should... Whoa, wow, now the Robo. Never mind. It's like a safe, weird macro play, I imagine.
All right, well, we'll find out as the game does come on here. Behind this, JAEDONG's, deflected his opponent quite well, and he's really focused on getting his creep spread from this third base pushed out there. And I think the biggest point for JAEDONG to probably focus on now is kind of getting some information, get some intel on what the hell Elfi's doing, because behind closed doors, it can be anything. And JAEDONG, I'm pretty sure he doesn't really know exactly who Elfi is and what he's capable of. I don't know if you've had words with him or not.
I did not get the chance. A lot of times I'll be over there with the guys, letting them know, especially our Koreans, because they, like you said, they actually would never know who Elfi is. And again, no slight to Elfi, it's just that JAEDONG does not have him on his radar. But this build is like, this takes me back to 2010 Metalopolis. Like, the 7-gate Blink Stalker Robo, kind of 2 or 3 base macro play, but very much so like a 2 base safe-ish play, you know what I mean? And it doesn't really happen that way this day and age. Protoss players have kind of learned, no, I need to be pretty hardcore about my 3rd base or pretty hardcore about my 2 base. And they'll take risks like not adding the Robo in the name of more Stalkers.
Well, JAEDONG's currently sitting at only 50 or only 60 drones at this point, and he's building a lot of units. And especially as Roach speed's on its way. So if we are going to see Elfi try to take a 3rd base momentarily here, as he's about to throw down the pile and
Elfi's
Nexus,
falling for it.
There's going to be a lot of units coming his way. A lot of units.
I mean, he definitely is going to have Blink, but the problem here is he's just now adding like his... this looks like it's going to be a total of 5 sentries, which is about what you want these days. You don't want your 10 sentries of the days of old, but he's just now adding them, so his force fields are going to be quite limited, which means if JAEDONG really pours it on, which it kind of looks like he is, because like you called out earlier, it was 60-some-odd drones and then units, and that seems to be what he's going to be doing here. Well,
he's bought a lot of units, but he has just thrown down his gases on the 3rd base and also a Hydralisk den. So he's built a lot of units, but he's going to have to drone up to actually make use of those extractors. But he's still got a really comfortable army. I'm a little confused with what JAEDONG's planning at the moment, whether he was just building a lot of units in anticipation for something coming, or if he was looking to go across the map. But either way, if he doesn't actually do anything here, of course he could have droned and got the Hydra den a little bit earlier and sooner.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because this 3rd goes down roughly at about 11, or actually like 10:30, 10:45. That's actually pretty regular timing, all things said. So I'm not sure if JAEDONG was worried about a 2-base attack just because the 3rd base was fairly average. But then you and I were starting to think he was looking to maybe cancel the 3rd, but then he didn't really even do that. So I'm not sure what the read was here for JAEDONG.
All right, well, JAEDONG does have the Infestation Pit and a secondary Evolution Chamber coming down too. Wouldn't be surprised to see Swarm Host in this play.
I wouldn't either. I think this might be a hole in JAEDONG's play, to be honest with you. Like, I don't like the half-assed Hydralisk Den into Swarm Host. I feel like he mediocrizes both. Like, this is a mostly unused Hydralisk Den so far. Yep. And he doesn't really have the resources to, like, well, actually, as I say that, he's actually floating 1,400 minerals, so never mind everything I was about to say. But usually what ends up happening is you're, like, trickling out Swarm Hosts that aren't supported by a Spire for Corruptors, and you don't have a number of Hydralisks, so those Swarm Hosts aren't that dangerous, in my opinion.
JAEDONG does throw a couple of Zerglings into the mix, picks up a couple of probes, but here come 10 Swarm Hosts.
Yeah.
They do,
but again, not supported, though. For now. I mean,
well, for now, but with the 4th base coming down, I'm pretty sure he'll want to continue to upgrade off his double evolution chambers that he has, and also throw down the Spire very shortly. With 12 Swarm Hosts, you don't really need more than that at this point.
Right.
From here on out, he should start to bank his gas and then start to build support around them, I suppose. But 13 Swarm Hosts, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. You want about 18, so if he gets up to that number, that's the area you want to be at. But I'll tell you what, Elfi's on a timer. So you see this Hallucinated Phoenix going out. If they can spot and inform him that he's facing straight Swarm Hosts, like no Spire, no Hydros, just straight Swarm Hosts, he needs to get out well, he's adding a second Robo, I believe. I think I saw that. But he also needs, like, whoa, okay, boom, 2 Warp Prisms. I'm out on the map, and I'm actually taking a very quick 4th and maybe a 5th base. But if he doesn't, if he sits back, and these Swarm Hosts do get that support, and JAEDONG gets a 5th base on top of this, Belshir Vestige becomes a near impossibility for Protoss.
He only has 1 robotics facility at the moment, but he has now spotted the Swarm Host. As we can see, JAEDONG's starting to push up this ramp a little bit. Blink's going to work out really well for him. He can blink back and try not to lose too many units to these Locusts. But there's the second robotics facility, as you said, as well as +3 attack on the way.
Yeah, we do have a couple of Zerglings in the back of that 3rd base. So we've actually seen this a few times. You've commentated, Huck, in this weird situation where he's having a tough time getting a 3rd. That's what I forecast for Elfi right now. Like, Elfi's already battling Locust, which is this weird, cancerous, like, you're not dying, but you're slowly taking damage.
Yeah.
The danger here, again, is, though, if JAEDONG with these unsupported Swarmos gets his Locust too far away from the Swarmos, because Roaches won't protect him. Force fields go down, the Swarmos are trapped, and they die. And once they die, Zerg's in a lot of trouble. But if he can go through this phase where he's already doing damage and then joined by Corruptors, then JAEDONG's in a super powerful position.
Yeah, I love the Burrow on all the external bases that Elfi could attempt to try. We also have a 3rd evolution chamber coming down here for JAEDONG too, so I think he's going to, well, he will be starting his melee upgrades, and for future notice can go over to Broodlords and start the melee upgrades for them, and also potentially Ultras, just depending on what we see from Elfi. If he sticks on Colossus and Stalkers, then absolutely we could see Ultras come in later on. But for now, you know, JAEDONG set himself up really nice. He could even afford to take a 5th base on the left-hand side at this point. There's nothing really stopping him.
Yeah, it's just kind of going to it's when he decides to. He's at 2,000 minerals. He's actually at 190 supply. What I'd like to see, and what he's doing right now, and I love this about JAEDONG, he's adding so much stack defenses. Look at all his bases.
Yeah.
Actually, just look at his 1 base, because right now that's the only one he's doing it. He is doing his main base, which is great too, but he does want to think about bolstering those back doors. But also, and this is a soapbox I've been up on for a while, he's got Zerglings burrowed at the potential 4th base spots.
Yeah.
JAEDONG sees and knows all. He's well informed.
Just like he was in Brutal, man. Zerglings everywhere, Overlords everywhere. And he's about to break through here with Roaches. Roaches at this point, not so useful. So if he's able to do a lot of damage, a recall goes to the space so he can try and get back to defend it. And he will defend it.
Yeah.
But these Roaches definitely just trade off. I mean, at
he
the end of the day, he doesn't
them,
want them. So he's killed a couple of probes there, quite a few probes.
This is annoying too.
What does Elfi, at this point on 3 bases, need to do to get a lead in this game? I don't think he's leading, especially with all these upgrades and the future play that JAEDONG has. What does Elfi need to do to grasp this game?
Well, it's going to come down to the Colossus. Like, he needs that ridiculous Colossus count that we thought was a bad idea. You need like 7 or 8 of them. And then he's got to have that standard awesome Elfi army control where he actually focuses down the Corruptors really well with his Stalkers and kites back, and then he can snowball downhill with the gigantic Colossus count. But the reason why that's really hard is because Zerg's getting this position where they can start trading out. Like, these Corruptors, they just picked off a Colossus or 2, and he doesn't really care. Like, he can lose 3 or 4 Corruptors for that trade all day long because he can afford to do that, whereas Elfi, every Colossus that dies is 1 step further into death's door.
All right, well, Elfi at 190 supply with +3 attack here, getting +1 shields, is about to finish 2. Ideal would want to try and establish a 4th base at this point. Now he's starting to move out and get a bit eager. But he's got the Mothership Core. If that Mothership Core goes down, he's going to be very, very careful with any fight he takes.
Well, Elfi, if he makes a blitz up that ramp and can go in towards the natural, it's a little bit of a scary position here for JAEDONG. JAEDONG's going for the Mothership Core, focusing down, but at the cost of a lot of his Corruptors. This is that kind of situation I was talking about. Elfi gets a favorable trade there. He's fine with losing the Mothership Core. Of course, he'd love to have it, but he doesn't mind losing it. Corruptors moving in to flank on the Colossus. 1 loses half its health, but that's it. And all of a sudden, JAEDONG is in trouble.
And look at these Force Fields coming down. Excellent Force Fields here. Well, actually, I say that. There's the 4th one comes down. Much, much better here from Elfi. If only the Mothership Core was alive, because he can go in the main base, do a lot of damage, and get out. But, oh, he turned around and actually jumps on top of the Swarm Host.
Yeah, that's actually not the best idea. They're going to do so much damage right off the bat.
all the Swarm Hosts, they're almost all gone.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, the Colossus are gone, and watch the Locust do. Goodbye, everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a weird situation. So, if there's a 4th base behind this, I'm like, whoa, Elfi's way back in the game. But look at the supplies, Sean. It's 187 versus 111. 2,500 minerals that he can't spend, and now here comes a million lings.
JAEDONG just made 120 lings.
Oh, I was off by a lot.
I'm sorry to correct you on that.
Looked like a million to me, though.
It was very close. The 4th base from Elfi, that borrowed Zergling is preventing him from taking that 4th. If that was there, look, he's still trying to do it. He can't get there.
These poor Zealots.
Oh my god.
They're like, why did we get left behind? They're getting smashed. There's now enough Corruptors where you don't make Colossus, by the way, at this point. You're just done making Colossus, because without many Corruptors, you're like, well, what do I do? And all of a sudden, these Lings are going to go and destroy that Nexus. There was a Colossus. Well, that guy got one laser beam in.
Yeah, one laser beam in and immediately out of the game. There's a lot of Corruptors and 10 more Swarm Hosts on the way. So where was Elfi's downfall? Was it his attempt to break to the natural? No fourth base?
And Warp Prism. You have to exploit the lack of mobility. There was a chunk of time there where JAEDONG had Roaches, he had Swarm Hosts, and that was it. And he was mid-map. And a lot of times what you can do is you Warp Prism in 9 Zealots in the main base, so they send the Roaches back, the Swarm Hosts get forgotten, you surround, Force Field, Crush, and it's a different game. But without that ability to say, hey, your attention needs to be elsewhere, JAEDONG is able to focus down on the Swarm Host and not make a mistake, and that's when it becomes really hard for Elfi.
Well, Elfi's climbing back up to 150 supply here, but he just doesn't have the army necessary to be able to take out JAEDONG here. He's got a lot of dead weight in the air, but Spines on this right-hand side, a Swarm Host on the left, and a lot of them coming down too. These Zealots are going to get shredded rather fast.
The only purpose of Zealots in a PvZ when Swarm Hosts are abound is to be fighting where the Swarm Hosts are not, and that means killing a main base, attacking Spine Crawlers at a 4th, or something like that. But Locusts, they chew through Zealots like there's no tomorrow. The Corruptors are hunting around looking for a target. They won't find one. Elfi is going to go to Storm. But with his main mind out, his natural thinning, and his third under constant duress, I don't mean to be that commentator that kills the excitement for people, but guys,
kill it.
We're watching a dead man walking right now.
Kill it.
He's a dead man.
With the Great Aspire coming in, these Corruptors will no longer be useless. They're going to go over, as JAEDONG has 200 supply at the moment, as he just built 20 Roaches.
Yeah.
But he will be able to use the Corruptors to go over to the Broodlords very shortly. And what does Elfi have to combat, 8 Broodlords behind Swarm Host?
No.
Not too much at the moment. Down to 137 supply. He's got a bunch of Zealots running up north, but there's 20 Roaches that have just been made with a bunch of Spine Claws defending this natural, so this is not going to work out too well either.
Yeah, I mean, JAEDONG has shut the door. One of the nice things about this Swarm Host play, too, is you're used to Zergs being on, 9 bases. But with Swarm Host, it's actually more advantageous to have a very secure, 4 bases and then a 5th. You don't need the map like Zergs used to have, because your Swarm Hosts are very hardy. They're going to get that cost effectiveness that Zergs aren't used to. But where they fall is if they have too many bases that they then don't have stacked defenses at, all of a sudden the Swarm Host becomes a burden, essentially. But on a secure 4 or 5 base in a very slow play style like this, JAEDONG is safe, and there's not really much Elfi could do.
All right, well, JAEDONG's coming in with the doorbell finisher here. As the Swarm Hosts move into the natural location. A couple of Storms come down to bait these Corruptors off as they target down the Mothership core, and that shall fall. Corruptors at this point can easily fall back and morph into Broodlords.
Yeah.
But JAEDONG, if he breaks through this third base, there's absolutely no hope for Elfi. He's down 100 supply already. There's almost no help anyway, as the last couple of units get warped in. Elfi, I don't even know where he's going. He's going to this right-hand side.
He doesn't know.
Couple of Colossus caught. Oh my gosh, they fall down easily.
There goes the Observer as well.
Yeah, that's not looking good.
Elfi's like, you know what? I'm going to go back to that forest of Spine Crawlers and take a crack at it.
I'm going to storm the Spine Crawlers. That's not going to work out too good. Corruptors do come back to storm something here, and a couple of them do die. But still, the third base compromise.
At what cost?
But at what cost? But at what cost? Here is the...
thinking about game number 2. There it is.
GG. JAEDONG takes map number 1.
And if I'm Elfi, realizing that JAEDONG... I mean, it's kind of tough because Belshir Vestige has become the Swarm Host map. It used to be that if you could get on Daybreak, you were going to make Swarm Host. That's what Zergs do there. But Daybreak is getting removed from more and more map pools as it is 10,000 years old. So Belshir Vestige is becoming that map where Zergs are like, wait a second, I've got 4 bases that can be covered by 1 volley of Locusts, and that same volley of Locusts can challenge your 4th base. This is a map that I like, but also more importantly, perhaps, is that if you can't counterattack when Swarm Hosts are out, because the middle of the map is more confined, those Swarm Hosts become very powerful.
All right, so we are through the first game of this best of 3 in the second half of the second group stage here at the DreamHack Open here at DreamHack Summer 2013 as Elfi blows his nose getting ready for map number 2. Question though, can JAEDONG, considering that StarTale Life is in the tournament, Tasia, Gumiho, can JAEDONG win the entire thing? Is that possible?
I actually think it is. It's going to come down to who he faces, because I do feel like against Life would still be the favorite, but you heard in Life's interview, JAEDONG is a very scary ZVZ opponent. But there are some threats beforehand. I mean, Squirtle does advance. Gumiho, well, we don't know just yet, but his group is pretty good. Even if he loses to Tasia, probably advances from there. Those are guys that can beat a JAEDONG. And it's not to forget some of the foreigners. I mean, JAEDONG has dropped games in the past to Naniwa at Stockholm, but also to Sase, another good Protoss. Of course, Naniwa was eliminated earlier, and Sase is not here. But what I'm basically saying is keep your eyes open, because JAEDONG in tournament mode is very, very good, but he does have a weakness against Protoss.
All right, well, the next map is going to be Neo Planet S. What are your thoughts on this? Coming from JAEDONG's side, first of all, what are your thoughts?
Well, from JAEDONG's side, this is a map that Swarm hosts are not tremendously powerful on. Wherever the Swarm hosts are, there's almost always going to be at least 2 other options in terms of pathing that you can avoid them. But also, Swarm hosts aren't going to be able to protect like 4 bases. They can protect 3, but they can't protect 4, and they don't also simultaneously assault the opponent's 4th base. So that's why this map is going to be much more of like a Roach, Hydra, Viper map, because you're almost guaranteed to engage on a low ground as opposed to having to go up a ramp like on Aklon Waste or something like that. So if JAEDONG plays that, actually, as I say that, though, I think he's going to go Mutas. He loves those Mutas. That's the good side for Elfi, or excuse me, for JAEDONG. The good side for Elfi is that Protoss go into this map and they go, hey, 3rd's really hard to take. I should 2-base. Elfi, really good at 2-base.
All right, well, I'm going to burst your bubble.
Do it.
I like bursting bubbles, and this is going to be a big burst.
Pop it.
Pop it?
Do
We're
it.
not playing on Neo Planet S.
Ah, damn.
Apparently, JAEDONG said in chat that he vetoed this map, so he wasn't too sure why it was hosted. As you can see on screen, he's just speaking to Minsik to get over to the admins. He's like, but I got rid of this map, man. I thought I had a veto.
This map not possible. I said no.
And when JAEDONG says no, JAEDONG means
Seriously.
no. Look at that guy.
Hanging out with him, he's actually like one of the nicer people you could meet. He's very friendly. He's actually a god. Like I stayed up. I've been watching him play for like 10 years. It's kind of weird being on this team and being a friend of his now. But I've seen him in tournament mode. When him and Naniwa walked down that aisle at Stockholm, they were both looking at me. I'm a big guy. Not that I need to tell you guys that. And I used to be a bartender, or not a bartender, a bouncer,
of course.
Me, yeah.
You wouldn't be a bartender.
I'd be a terrible bartender.
I'd be the bartender.
You would be the bartender, yes. So I've been in a lot of fights and stuff too. But actually, Naniwa and JAEDONG, they both could have like pump faked me, and I would have just ran. I think I would have been like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
crap!" They're intense.
JAEDONG has the stare, which is, he's made famous over the years, that death stare when he loses a game and then gets into it. And then Naniwa's Naniwa.
Naniwa is actually a killer.
Naniwa.
Yeah.
So very scary, both of them actually. I reckon if we left esports and retired, we could run a bar together.
Oh, it'd be a great bar.
It would be a great bar. I wouldn't be too sure what I'd call it.
It'd have to something with Apollo. Apollo's a great name for mainstream. It'd be like,
And it'd have to be in jazz italic writing like
Yeah.
this.
Apollo's Bar.
Apollo's Bar,
You can get the naming rights.
where you lose control.
It's $1 million idea, I think. Someone has a sign over there. One more time. Eyes are terrible. What does that say?
What? That sign?
Yeah.
That one right there?
Yeah.
It says, "Oh dearie me."
Ah, that's your saying.
That's one of the things I say, alongside
I like
"God
that.
damn it" and
God damn it.
"The ticking bomb is ticking" as another one.
I went home and I tried to think of Muslim-isms.
The
I
Muslimisms.
I couldn't think of more. But
So-
what I did do is I fired up a stream and I heard something almost as dumb. So, do you ever watch the Muslim stream?
Yeah, of course I do.
Of course you do. Everyone does.
Of course
right?
I do.
Everyone does. So this morning he was analyzing a game that went really well, and he said, you ever played those games where you feel like you're never behind? It's like you're riding on a skateboard on a beautiful pier.
I don't get that. That's,
Nobody gets that.
You can't blame that on being English.
Nobody gets
That's
that.
just a Muslim.
That's English.
No, it's not.
Sure. Well, I don't know.
What? So
You know what it means. I mean, when a British guy says something, that's all of England. It's not just one guy. But I'm the only one in this
Total
channel.
Biscuit sitting there with a cup of tea in his top hat, saying, "I know exactly what you mean, Jeff." No, he's
Actually,
not.
shout out to Total Biscuit. I saw him tweet that he's going to be watching this, so thank
Hello,
you, John.
Hello, John.
We love you. We miss you. You should come out here and cast for 14 hours.
I bet you missed that, don't you, mate? He's sitting there.
It's like, no, I don't.
No, I don't.
I'd
No,
rather
I
tweet
don't.
angrily from home. They went without me. They did it again. You jerks. All have to cast from that screen. That's fine. That's fine, Adabisi.
Adabisi loves to drop you in it.
He does.
All right, up here on the top of Akalon Wastes, it is none other than EG's JAEDONG.
Audience loves him. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for clapping my
Thank you
teammate.
for clapping for my teammate.
And down here in the bottom right, it is none other than Elfi.
Not going to lie, I am a fan of Elfi for this game. I do want to see this go to Game 3. And Akalon Waste is traditionally a very good PvZ map. So a lot of the analysis that we talked about for Neoplanet S goes right out the freaking window because it doesn't apply here as much. So Akalon Waste, your natural, very easily defended. That ramp, while large, is pretty good for a wall in, and it's just the one ramp. There's no back door that we're totally concerned about. But the reason this map becomes a big Protoss map is because of the destructible rocks that Adabisi just showed us, which gives you access to a third. Now, a third close to the natural, that's good, but what makes this map particularly good is that third only has one entry point, and because it only has one entry point, even with those destructible rocks, that too becomes very defensible as well. So this is a great Protoss map for those reasons.
And it's not so good of a swarm host map.
No.
It's kind of big.
If it's cat style, it's okay. Just because the swarm host in the middle of the map with a million spine crawlers and spore crawlers can be good. But to your point, it's not a great swarm host map. Wow, this map's great for swarm host.
Yeah, I wonder what style JAEDONG... I mean, JAEDONG can pretty much play any style. I don't think that he's limited to just swarm host, for example, which we saw in the previous game. I think he's definitely a very good layer player. A lot of Zerglings, a lot of roaches, good surrounds, good macro. And just translate that into an advantage that he can use later on, whatever he chooses to use.
And I'll tell you, some Zerg players do... There's that pylon again that he's thinking about. I'll tell you, Elfi wants these weird cannon rushes, so that gets canceled, but he was thinking about a pylon on that high ground. He's not going to go for it because JAEDONG sees all, but he's definitely tooling with the idea. What I was going to say, though, some Zerg players make the mistake of opening, like, Roach Ling or Roach Hydra on this map. This map is limiting in that way that if you do that, the Protoss can sit behind their wall in and play Monty Python where they call you names, and you just don't do anything. And then those units become completely cost ineffective when you try to throw them away. But the Protoss is happily on 3 bases, so you're probably trading like 20 Roaches and whatever amount of Lings for like force fields, which is just not a good idea.
Well, this is one of the most difficult groups in the second group stage here.
Yeah.
Ghosty User and Rhett are the other 2 players within this group, so this is group 12. Rather difficult, in all honesty, but on that thought, as Elfi needs to make sure he doesn't let these Zerglings in. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, the Zerglings just pushed right past the probe.
And those are JAEDONG Zerglings, so I am going to fanboy out a little bit here, but guys, JAEDONG is famous for his micro. And Elfi's going to have a tough time with this. 4 Lings is enough where if they choose to attack a structure, they do enough DPS that they could probably force you to bring something out. We do see a Zealot being made, so he's not going to target the Nexus because he would never bring the Nexus down. But he should continuously challenge the mineral line. And actually, Elfi's doing a good job of, yes, getting off the minerals and chasing the Lings away, but not pursuing. You don't actually want to pursue with the Zealot on the way.
All right, well, let's see if we can get a couple of probe kills here. That's ideally what he wants. I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't necessarily have to because he's losing or forcing a lot of lost mining time, but probe kill's always nice here for JAEDONG, and he's going to get a lot of scouting information. 4 Zerglings is a lot in this main base.
It is. He's going to want to challenge at the gas, but we see that Zealot actually incoming, so Elfi's bought enough time. And yeah, okay, Elfi did lose mining time, but quite frankly, that's not that big of a deal. I think he's actually lost, just now losing a probe.
Yeah, just lost one there for 2 Zerglings. Behind this, JAEDONG's doing nothing but building drones, getting his overlords out, his Queen's lava injecting. But Elfi's in a bit of a pickle, as we like to say in England. I'm not sure if you have that in America too.
We do have pickles.
Okay. Do you have this? Do you have?
You get in them, yes.
You get in pickles as well?
We get in pickles.
Well, in America, you can probably do anything with pickles.
Do you know what a pickle is in reference to that saying, though, in America at least?
No.
In baseball, when you're caught trying to steal a base and you're running between 2 positions, you're in a pickle.
In a pickle?
Yeah, we're in a pickle.
Really?
Yeah.
In England, it just means you're in a bunch of crap.
Well, you guys call your poop pickles? Do they come out that way, Apollo?
We drink a lot of tea and eat a lot of biscuits.
And it makes your poop into pickles. All right, I do apologize for all the children listening in right now. The Lings do end up getting ran down, and Elfi is going to go for that fast third next. If you look at that production tab, you don't see any tech, and that's actually quite normal. You can go for that third Nexus before a Robo or a Stargate. That's quite fine. The Mothership Core is going to give coverage against slow Lings. And take it away, Sean. I'm getting distracted by the makeup getting put on my face right now.
I was going to see how good you are with that, but...
thank you, guys. Thank you.
In Control loves his makeup. Let's just say that.
Marvet plays.
Zealot gets surrounded here by
Thank
a bunch of slow Zerglings. As the Stalker's trying to escape here.
Oh, he's
not
stopped
going to
to
escape,
shoot.
is he?
That might have been a mistake. No, he's fine.
Okay.
Deion Sanders there. The slow Lings are a little bit interesting, though. I think JAEDONG toyed with the idea of challenging the next side, but again, these are slow Lings, and that is a Mothership Core, and it will take a year and a half to kill anything, but it will kill everything. So I don't know that JAEDONG should have gone for this, and that's good for Elfi.
JAEDONG, though, has gone for a pretty fast layer and taken all gases relatively fast, too. You know, just kind of embracing the fact that Protoss players are most likely going to take quite a fast third base. As we can see, this is pretty fast. It's finished up by 8 minutes 40. And if you look at the previous game, it was finished up by like 10:30, 11 or something, I think it was.
So I think you might be right.
And he's got the Infestation Pit coming down immediately, as well as double Evolution Chambers. So he is going to play... Well, actually, I was going to say he's going to play Swarm Hose. But then melee upgrade, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
There's a couple of styles that I've seen recently come out from Zerg players. I'm not sure if JAEDONG's going to go for it. It's actually straight up to Broodlords like that in an instant.
With melee upgrades?
Yeah, straight away. Like, as soon as that's done, go straight to Hive, go straight fast. Because if you think about it, if you send out a Hallucinated Phoenix and you scout this, is that you see the double Evolution Chamber, maybe the Hive coming down here, all right, Ultralisks, and then you prepare very differently to how you would prepare if it was Broodlords. So that's just a wild guess. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, but he is actually getting the Locust upgrade, so may not be. But why melee upgrades?
I think it's because he will end up at Ultralisk. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like 20 Swarm Hosts. And even then, if it is, you can actually support it with Lings quite well. To your point, though, I think actually one mistake, not necessarily a mistake, but I guess we could just be critical of the decision.
Yeah, be critical. Well, that's what we're here for, Premier Casters.
Premier Casters. I feel like you should build a Spire regardless. So to your point, if I'm Elfi and I scout double Evo and Aspire, I think it's like Mutiling. But then it doesn't end up being that. It ends up being Corruptor, Locust, or Swarmos rather, and well-upgraded Lings. I feel like that just makes it much more difficult for Elfi. But Elfi right now scouts no Spire, double Evo, and Infestation Pit. That's Swarm Host. And he looks at it and he says, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to make 25 Colossus.
All right, well, thanks for tweeting in here as well, at Last Lighting. JAEDONG versus Elfi, currently 1-0. Can the Finn beat the Korean, is the question here. That's going to be a difficult one, that's for sure, as the Swarmos do make their way across the map, quite a few of them. The Spire's coming down now as well, as the 1-1 upgrades are about to finish here. The thing is, for Elfi, he's scouted this nice and early. He's got the second Robo nice and early. He's got the Templar Archives coming down as well, which means he can go over to Storm quite fast.
He's moving out with a too small of an army, though.
Be careful.
I mean, he's trying to thin out he wants to get out and get some laser beams down with the Colossus, but he's got his sentries mixed in there. Actually, it's quite bad. But every time JAEDONG moves out with these early Swarmos, I look at it and I'm like, I don't like this. But actually, every time he does it, he's facing a very developmental Protoss army. Like, this army wants nothing to do with, the force fields could have been good there, but the Swarmos do actually deploy their little buddies.
Do you think a better decision here from Elfi, instead of getting the Templar Archives now, would have been to get the Dark Shrine and a Warp Prison? Is that too risky?
Well, you know how I feel about it. The second you see Swarmos, you have to get the Warp Prism out. So Storm is going to really clog up his 3-base gas. Like, but Templar and Storm. That's good if you're facing like Roach, Hydra, Viper, because you need those feedbacks. You're dead otherwise. But against Swarm Hosts, I don't know that he needs to be going double Robo Colossus and Templar at the same time, because he's going to have to support that with like Zealots, and they just don't do anything.
Well, JAEDONG has switched over to missile attacks now with his double Evolution Chamber after getting that +1 melee. But Elfi on this kind of map, not too difficult to take a 4th base. He easily pocket it around the corner there. And he's going to be able to get gases from that base quite fast here. So Elfi's going to be able to pull this into the later stages.
This game's going to go the distance, and that range upgrade on the Evolution Chamber really speaks to that. I feel like that's him basically. He's not like lynching, he's not depending his entire strat on the fast Hive Ultralisk, like 3-3, boom, I go for Ultralisk. It's more of a, I'm going to have 20 Swarm Hosts dropping Locust all game long. I'm going to very much so take a quick 4th because of your quick 3rd, but I'm going to take a slower 5th. But I do want to say, I feel like the Storm and Templar should have came at the 4th base, not before. Because I feel like we should be looking at like 6 Colossus right now or something like that.
Yes.
I'm nitpicking a little bit, but I do want to see more of that.
All right, well, his army is a bit small at the moment, as you can see. Not too big. But we are about to have the hive complete here. Is JAEDONG going to start to build some Vipers to pull these Colossus? There are very limited amounts of them. Could be an option for him in a couple of moments' time. But, these Zerglings, where are they going?
They don't know where to go. They looked at the natural and they're like, oh, he walled in fairly well. I don't want to risk it. So they're going to sit at the natural, no.
So it didn't really do too much there. As Elfi does manage to squeeze a couple of Zealots out from the north side, but not really going to find too much there. As the Swarmhouse count's quite big. JAEDONG's going to move them forward and it's going to start piling the pressure on into this open area.
Creep spread all the way to that point, by the way. Very important to note. Like, a lesser Zerg would not have that creep spread, which means that the Swarmhouse and the support units like Queens are going to be that much more vulnerable. Oh, those poor probes. Like, 2 of them made it through.
To be honest, one of the first actual strikes to either of the players throughout the entire game. A very passive one.
Very passive.
JAEDONG manages to bring down quite a few.
Oh, the Templar. No, why? Elfi, why?
One, so he kills a bunch of probes and a Templar with just Locust now. So JAEDONG's starting to take a bit of an edge in this game. Mothership Core goes down as well on the left-hand side as these Corruptors starting to rain havoc on that left-hand side flank.
Yeah,
but, I mean, where is Elfi going? Where does he need to be?
Not here. I mean, this army needs to be getting those Locusts' attention elsewhere. If they can just sit there and deploy Locusts over and over and over again like this, it's going to be quite bad. That being said, though, Elfi is growing his army. Like, he is at that critical mass of Colossus. He's adding the Stalkers. And with Storm, he can destroy a volley of Locusts quite quickly, as we can see here. So if JAEDONG loses those Swarmos, that's it. That's game for him. It's really hard to supply behind that.
All right, well, it's going to come down to the fights, most likely. With the Vipers coming in now, JAEDONG's going to attempt to start pulling some of these Colossus in. To be honest, Elfi's got to get High Templar ready to feed back them, otherwise he could be in a bit of a pickle, right, Jeff?
He will be in a pickle.
He'll
be in those poops.
He'll be in those poops.
5-base Zerg right now. JAEDONG does creep down the left side of the map. That purple connecting all his bases. Right now it's Protoss versus Locust, which is a slow and painful death, even getting Guardian Shield to make sure the Locusts don't do too much damage.
Do you know what I really like in this situation?
What do you like?
I like actually getting the Mothership Core, the real Mothership.
Yeah.
And just sit back, and because all the Locusts come in, they don't actually do anything because you can't have any vision on that side.
It is good. It's good for sitting around, but then it gets abducted and shot down, and you're like,
but then you never attack with it. You always leave it at home.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
You just sit there and let the Locusts come in and never lose anything.
It's not bad. Now, this is a really important moment right here. We do have a lot of Spike Crawlers going down, but more importantly, it's going to be Vipers and Corruptors versus expensive units. Now, the feedbacks are the life and death of Elfi. If he can stop those Vipers, then that army is not nearly as scary. But if those Vipers tug half those Colossus into the fray...
Oh, there goes one. He grabs one. And that's going to fall down relatively fast. JAEDONG, really cost efficient in this game. Hardly losing anything so far.
No, it's only 4 Colossus at this point, too. And there's the Templar, and they didn't just die, did they? No, he's got a couple in there. Okay.
Yeah, he needs to get the feedbacks down here. If Elfi loses the Colossus, the Swarm Host will kill everything.
Yeah.
So he's got to be super careful.
No Mothership Core. There should be no returning from this.
Here come the Vipers. Here come the Corruptors. He's going to grab these Colossus.
We need those abducts. There's a storm down. That's not what you need to do. You need to feed back.
1.
2 of the Colossus going down. Well, 1 survives, actually.
3 Colossus survive here. 2 High Templar as well. Probably don't have too much energy left. Another storm does come down here. And it looks like Elfi's going to get this base. How is he going to continue here from the... Oh, another Adopt and the Colossus get picked up. Both of them go down. 1 is remaining. But there's not too many left units here for JAEDONG. And Elfi trades quite equally there. Corruptor's going to come in.
It's interesting. I think the Templar die here too. If it weren't for if you could have like saved 2 Colossus and a few of the Templar, I'd call this a win for Elfi. But quite frankly, he lost all his gas for a base that Zerg's banking on. I mean, look at the bank of JAEDONG: 2,500, 200, 200. He doesn't care. He's like, oh no, I don't have more of a bank later. But his Swarm hosts were untouched, Apollo.
Yeah.
That means that they can poop out more little buddies all game long.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems when you don't use Warp Prisms and you use your main army to try to come around and take these bases. You're going to lose a lot.
Yeah.
With a Warp Prism, it's a little bit less riskful. You don't lose as much. But we are going to have Elfi with a 3rd robotics facility coming down. He's on the back foot now because he lost quite a lot.
6 City.
6 City.
They all just rolled over and died because they were afraid of that Colossus. Now, here comes the next problem. Elfi is looking at the map and he says, there's actually creep everywhere. Where does Elfi take his 5th base? I mean, 4 base is good for Protoss. Like, you can see that Elfi is approaching max. He, too, has not necessarily a bank, but he's got healthy money. He's okay on money for now, but as that main and natural dry up, he's going to be looking for a 5th, and he'll have to go into Zergland for that. That's going to be tough to do.
And Zergland is not a happy land.
No, it's not like Disneyland.
It's not like Disneyland.
It's like Disneyland without security straps and belts, which would be terrifying, actually, especially for somebody the size of me.
I kind of like that.
You like that idea?
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the adrenaline rush.
All right. Well, I know I'm taking you to Disneyland next time. I'll be like, hey, Sean. You'll notice you can actually just cut that or unbuckle.
Would you like to take a ride with Winnie the Pooh?
Go Space Mountain and see you unbuckled.
Zerglings have made their way into the mainland natural here. Nothing.
Both the Robos.
Robos, the Cybercore. He's not going to rebuild any more Robos for a while. JAEDONG, you sneaky little fellow, as he brings both of them down and the Cybernetics core. Even gets a couple of Zerglings into the main base too. Nice little play there by JAEDONG.
It is really nice. I mean, the fact that we're at 20 minutes plus and he's doing a Ling run by like that is equal parts good for JAEDONG, but also bad for Elfi. Elfi really should, at this point in time, have that covered. And if you're playing against a player the caliber of JAEDONG, they're going to exploit little mistakes like that. Like, I guarantee you, that's not something that happens every day on the ladder for Elfi, but when you're playing JAEDONG sitting in front of a live audience, this is the stuff that does happen.
All right, well, we are going to have JAEDONG push forward a little bit here with the Locust.
That is a scary army.
He actually gets a Templar and a couple of Stalkers there. But remember, these Vipers are coming in. One Colossus gets picked up, and that's going to go down. And it does fall down, and Storm gets an edge of a couple of Corruptors, but not too much there.
This is a scary army from Elfi. It's just, unfortunately, this army needed to be here about 7 minutes ago with the War Prism dragging the attention away from the middle of the map. But right now, it's Spinecrawlers buying time, Locust creeping in, and the Vipers haven't been the most insanely awesome Vipers, but they've been methodical. They've been consistent, you know.
JAEDONG's got into the base again with a bunch of Zerglings.
And Elfi is at 192 supply, so he can warp in stuff. He's just not doing it yet.
Yeah, and he brings down one pylon, turns
there's
off 4
the
gateways. But
whoa! That's actually great for Elfi. He's able to pick off a few of those Corruptors. Again, the bank for the Berserk means that he's going to be able to resupply that, but for right now, I feel like that should have been his action point, but he's distracted by what's going on at home, so he's not moving out. You can see that little blob in the map. That's blue.
Yeah.
Those are red. Those are Locusts.
The problem is, though, that JAEDONG's been so cost efficient, he's hardly lost anything in this game. And he's got so much gas. He's got +3 attack on the way for his air. A Mutalist crazy switch could happen. Anything can happen at this point. He can use any units. He's upgrading everything. Vipers do go down. A couple of Corruptors, too.
Elfi is getting a pretty good exchange right here. A nice storm. A lot of the Corruptors going down. The Vipers are dead. The Swarm hosts are there. They're not supported. Is there no detection? Does he not have the ability? There's the Observer right there. All the Swarm hosts are going to go down. JAEDONG is all of a sudden making that critical mistake.
Time to use that EG money to actually replenish his army here. He's got so much money in the bank.
Yes.
29 Mutalists. See, being on EG, you can afford 29 Mutalists to come out in an instant. Yeah, any other Zerg player on lesser-known teams, they can't do that.
No, that's just monster money right there.
That's monster money right there. And that's a lot of units coming in. And Elfi has no idea that this is coming in.
No, all of a sudden those Stalkers become pretty silly. This is like, well, I don't have really an analogy for it. It's not very good. The Archons are going to be great for stand-up fight, not good for defense. You want those ranged Phoenix, Storm, or something. Elfi, I mean, he's got pretty good cannon coverage in his one healthy mining base, but look at that. That's the natural. We just saw the third from Adabisi. And it's Shantytown. They are on threadbare right now. They're not doing too hot.
All right, let's see the Mutalists rain some terror down. Oh, God, that's not what I expected.
No. Rain some terror. They're like, run for our lives! I could have sworn I just saw all the Swarmos die, but there are another batch of Swarmos just there.
Oh, he's
got to be careful. Good storm right there, though. And I'll tell you, Elfi with this army control is keeping himself here.
So good play from Elfi, considering he's been on these 4 bases for so long. He's
certainly not his macro that's keeping him alive, but it's definitely the army control. He's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing so well here, and he's got such a good army.
How does JAEDONG stop this?
We'll find out soon. JAEDONG still has 6,000 gas in the bank, so he has a couple of options. He has, well, it depends on his lava as well. He must be hitting those lava
he's
jacks.
Going to base trade.
Going to base trade back. And what's Elfi going to do? Does he come back? Does he go forward? He's got
to keep going. He has to keep going.
But how does he stop everything else? How is he going to stop the Mutalists from killing everything?
I agree with you. It's just if he goes home.
Oh, the Swarm host going down as well.
Does he still have an Observer? If he loses that Observer, he's in big trouble because the Swarmers could just constantly launch. The Templar have all been made in Archons except for, I think, just one of them. I wish JAEDONG set himself up for a situation where he's like, oh, okay, 20 Ultralists. 20 Ultras here would have been great, but he's not. So he's just going to go for the base trade. He's actually remaking the Spire just to be safe. God. There's a million Spinecrawlers. And how many meters does he make?
27 more.
Oh, my God.
And he's already got 24.
Well, he can actually just win the straight-up fight, even with those Archons. You just magic box them, and they're great.
Yeah, JAEDONG's just got too much money at this point. Despite Elfi crushing through, he's been on 4 bases for 28 minutes. JAEDONG's been on 5, 6, 7. I don't even know how many bases he's been on now. He's got a bunch of spine crawlers at that south position. Another expansion down here.
Buying the win.
Just buying the win.
Freaking buying the win.
You guys.
JAEDONG didn't even micro like this stupid player.
Stupid player.
What a
I
joke.
gave Elfi
What a
$50 to give me this best of 3, and he did.
Yeah.
He's on Team Ents. They don't quite have the sponsors you guys do.
Look at this. He's targeting the one Archon like a jokester. If it weren't for all that money, he totally would have lost. Idiot.
Another Nexus is going down here as JAEDONG continues the onslaught as more and more Mutilas pop out. And at the end of the day, if you look at the units tab, what really does Elfi have to combat this? 2 Archons and 20 Stalkers. 4 High Templar thrown in the mix as well, but there's 47 goddamn Mutalisks.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, actually in a straight-up fight, if you were to land a Storm and the Archons were to get off any kind of blast on a compacted group of Mutalisks, he could actually win a stand-up fight, but that should never happen. What should happen is that JAEDONG uses those 47 Mutalisks to kill all the buildings of Elfi, because if you look at this, I mean, Elfi actually only has 200 minerals, so even if he were to somehow escape with his probes, he's not going to be able to remake anything. But I think JAEDONG will go for the stand fight because those Archons just got tickled to death by those phallic spine crawlers.
Yeah, I think JAEDONG may take a stats
what are you
on
doing?
his spines.
Oh, God! Not that it mattered, but you just move command into the spine crawlers.
An
man.
Archon falls down as well as a couple of Stalkers too, and Swarm hosts to really annoy Elfi some more as JAEDONG, currently leading this series 1-0, is looking at taking this 2-0 very shortly as the flock of Mutalisks comes in.
They're in duck formation! Oh no, it's the flying
The
bee!
flying bee!
Oh no!
Oh, GG! JAEDONG takes the game 2-0 with the
What's their
flying
chant?
bee of